UFO's official position is not to speculate on this subject. We can choose to let our minds explore other possibilities, to use our imaginations. For if we consider that astroscientists agree on one point, that the possibility of life elsewhere is not only quite probable, some feel it is there without a doubt. Let us suppose then that these objects are real space vehicles, extraterrestrial in origin, and not an illusion of the mind.
There's nothing to hide. There's nothing to hide at all.
There we go. I was on mute. Nothing to hide at all, guys. I beg to differ. We will dive into that tonight. Welcome to Somewhere in the Live Stream. I am your host, Ryan Sprague, and we have a lot to cover. This is going to be a jam-packed episode. For those who think there's not a lot going on in the UFO world, you're going to think differently after tonight. I have some awesome, exciting stories that we've dug up, some stuff that I haven't covered in the past that I thought did need some covering, and yeah, this is going to be a super, super fun show. I want to give a special shout out to our moderator, as always, Suzanne. Thank you for being here, Suzanne, and to all of our regulars. Nisa is here, Jim, Pat Gallagher, Hides and Longgrass, Andres. Who else did I see was here as well? James Craig, as always. Eichinger. Eichinger? I hope I'm saying that right. Amelia, welcome. Haven't seen you in a while. Thank you for being here. Donnie Falls is here. Martin is here. Bite-sized UFOs, who we will get to in just a moment. The biologist is here as well. Thomas Fox. Hello, guys. Hello to everyone, and welcome to Somewhere in the Live Stream, where we cover the latest UFO headlines and so much more. Let's get the talk shop out of the way. The super chat and super stickers are open. So if you would like to help support Somewhere in the Skies podcast and Somewhere in the Live Stream, this is a easy, immediate way to do so. Your super chats go right back into making these shows happen. Everything we do here is free for you to consume, but it's not free to create. So every penny helps. Every penny is truly appreciated. So super stickers, super chats, whatever I said, they're all open tonight. And yeah, we've got a Patreon campaign too. So if you would like to help the show that way and get rewards in return, that is another way to help out the show monthly or yearly. And you can find more information on our Patreon campaign. What's a campaign? Anyone know what a campaign is? Our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/somewhereskies. Other than that, somebody had a birthday this past week, a 40th birthday. Don't remind me. Thank you to every single one of you who reached out to me across social media, over the phone, in person. You truly made my birthday, my 40th birthday, very special. I had a wonderful time here in Scotland doing everything I love. I did an afternoon tea, pinkies up, had an afternoon tea with some awesome pastries. And what else did I do? I went bowling, proper bowling. For those of you who don't know, I come from bowling royalty. Mr. Doug Sprague has thrown a few 300 games in his life. I never quite made it to that level, but I tried. I league bowled for almost 15 years or something. So it was good to be back on the lanes and bowling again, and ended the night with a nice dinner, some drinks, and it was just amazing. That being said, the night prior to my birthday, I also had the amazing opportunity to meet up with the one and the only Graham Rendell, who you guys know from UAP Media UK. You know him from all of the prolific work he has done in the UFO world. And you know him from his YouTube channel. bite-sized UFOs. Graham and his wife came to Edinburgh, Scotland, where I live, and we had dinner. He and his wife treated me to an incredible haggis dinner, which was awesome. I've only had haggis twice. Once was like the first day I moved to Scotland, one other time, and this made the trilogy happen, the haggis trilogy. So I want to thank Graham dearly for making my pre-birthday extremely special. And, we caught up on everything. Life, what's going on in the world, what he and his wife are up to in England. But we also talked all about his new book, The French UFO Wave of 1954, which he was kind enough to give me. I've got it back on my shelf here as a special gift. But not only that, he also did an awesome interview with me over on his YouTube channel, where we talked all about my thoughts on what's going on in the UFO world when it comes to David Grush, when it comes to Luis Elizondo, all these controversial figures in the UFO world right now, and everything else going on in the UFO community and beyond. So if you aren't subscribed to Graham's YouTube channel, Suzanne was kind enough to put a link up there for you guys. There's a link in the show notes as well, and you can subscribe to that right here on YouTube if you are watching this right now. Be sure to check that out. He does these awesome like overviews of historical UFO cases in like 10 minutes or less. So, pop on a few of these in the morning with your coffee or on your commute to work, and it's just great. It's great. If you want to learn about obscure UFO cases that you probably have never heard of, Graham has got you covered. And he's got you covered in the French UFO wave of 1954 as well, which I highly suggest people check out. So again, special thanks to Graham, his wife, and to all of you for making my 40th birthday very, very special. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to go up in the chat and say hello to everyone who's just popping in as well. I see Graham is actually in the chat. Hello, my friend. Thanks for being here, buddy. Duncan is here. Hello. I do want to give a special thanks to the biologist for the super chat. Thank you so much, man, for the happy birthday super chat. Truly, truly do appreciate that as always. And Jim as well. Thank you so much for the super sticker. I really do appreciate those guys. Okay, so let us get to the UFO news, and we're going to go to a story that we haven't really talked about in a while, a long while. And there might be a reason for that, as we will see from John Greenwald of the Black Vault. And this one has to do with the Mosul Orb and the Baghdad Phantom. The return of the Phantom. What's going on with these guys, huh? Did we ever get any official explanations from Arrow or the Pentagon on these? We did not. And there could be a very good reason for that. So this story just came out from John Greenwald over at the Black Vault, like I just said. And this was titled, The Classified Mosul Orb UAP Case. A new chapter in government secrecy tactics unfolds. So I'm going to go ahead and read right from the article here, guys. We got a lot of reading from the articles tonight, so be prepared. This is going to be a fun crash course tonight. So John writes, the Mosul Orb, obtained and released by investigative journalists Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp, showed what has been alleged as a UAP, captured by an MC-12 medium to low altitude twin-engine turboprop aircraft over Mosul, Iraq on April 16th, 2016. So if you're watching this, guys, it's obviously the orb-like object that you're seeing on the right side of the screen there. And John continues here. However, a new response to an FOIA request filed by the Black Vault may indicate the classified and sensitive nature of the Mosul Orb case, which sheds light on why the Pentagon refused to comment on it. Do you guys remember? Like, when these videos were getting dropped by Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp, the Pentagon was like immediate to respond. And then when these two came out, they were dead silent, and everyone wondered why. Why weren't we hearing anything more about these what some would consider compelling photos. And basically, this is what John thinks. The DoD states in an FOIA denial letter received by the Black Vault that information relating to the case is, quote, classified, and it also relates to an ongoing law enforcement investigation. That's interesting. So this decision, coupled with the Pentagon's silence on the matter, adds another layer to ongoing secrecy surrounding UAP-related information. The classified nature of the Mosul Orb UAP and the lack of commentary from the Pentagon may further suggest an active investigation into the leaks. The Mosul Orb is only one of multiple cases published by Corbell and Knapp that may, according to the Black Vault, compromise classified information. Whew. Better be careful, Corbell and Knapp. Another leak published by Corbell and Knapp in March of 2023, dubbed the Baghdad Phantom, which you can see on the left of your screen here, may also encroach into classified territory. Although FOIA requests are still outstanding about this specific case, the footage originally shot of a, quote, cylindrical-shaped UAP and released in the form of 6 still-frame images is likely classified. The footage was captured by an MQ-9 Reaper drone, and according to the Air Combat Command, when speaking to the Black Vault, all footage captured by that platform is inherently classified. So John would go on to say that these types of responses indicate the leaks of both the Baghdad Phantom and the Mosul Orb are classified in nature, and that an investigation was, is, or will be underway given the reaction by the DoD to other recent classified leaks. Let me see here. The Black Vault has asked the Pentagon about investigations into the leaks referenced on UAP-related imagery, yet the request for comment and all subsequent follow-ups have been ignored. Men in Black going to visit Georgetown, he says. Here come the men in... I just watched that yesterday. Love that movie. The use of exemptions by the DoD in response to an FOIA request for records related to the Mosul Orb highlights the DoD's growing concern when it comes to their involvement in UAP-related matters. The exemptions point towards an ongoing law enforcement investigation and reveal an intent to protect the techniques used in such investigations. This may further shed light on the tactics now employed by the DoD to withhold all UAP-related documentation and Aero-related materials. Lastly, guys, despite the Pentagon's silence on the Mosul Orb case and the UAP issue as a whole, the quest for transparency in UAP investigations remains. The conversation is far from over, as the Black Vault continues to probe and question the nature of these unexplained phenomena and the role our government in investigating and communicating about them. It remains to be seen how this saga will unfold, but one thing is clear. The call for transparency will continue to grow louder, or at least it should. Whew, that was a lot. But again, kudos to John Greenwald for getting these FOIA responses in relation to both of these. And it seems that John was right. The more these things are leaked, the more classification is going to occur with any UAP-related material. So, you know, why some people may argue leaks are good, and they commend Corbell and Knapp for bringing this stuff forward. Others are like, come on, guys. Like, the more you do this, the more pissed off the Department of Defense is going to be, and they're not going to release anything. So, you know, I can see both sides of it, but I am going to have to agree with John on this one. The more we push leaks, the more they're going to overclassify everything. So make of that what you will. Leaks are sometimes the only way we get any information. They are an inherent part of our government system. But yeah, it's kind of a catch-22. We want this information out, but the only way we're going to get it is through leaks. And once those things are leaked, they're just going to stamp down even harder. So yeah, It is what it is. I want to know what you guys think. I'm going to go up into the chat and see what's going on here. James says there aren't the UAPs. These aren't the UAPs you're looking for. Move along. Yeah. Yep. Hello to Android. Hello to Eve as well. They only seem to release things under pressure. That's a good point, Eve. Very good point. Leaks are good. Chef Jacques Pepin is a devotee. In fairness, Jim says, given the global security situation at present, any leaks present present a serious potential threat, and so the authorities will seek to stop them. Yeah, interesting to see these orbs and these phantom whatevers showing up again in the news via the Black Vault. We will see what happens with this as John, like he says, continues to probe this. So yeah, let's move on, guys, to a more optimistic story, in my opinion. I really like this one. Scientists are getting serious about UFOs. Here's why. This story comes to us from sciencenews.org. And basically, the article goes into the specific study of UFOs so far by things like Arrow and NASA and why it's important to study UAP scientifically. But what really stood out to me was a section quoting Wes Waters, who, again, if you're watching this, is the gentleman on the left. He is a planetary scientist at Wellesley College in Massachusetts, who is assisting in creating instruments for the Galileo project, which was started by Avi Loeb, the gentleman you see on the right of your screen. And the specifics about what they are doing with their instruments. So basically, in this article, Wes Waters says that he stresses how several research teams are developing suites of instruments that can observe a broad range of characteristics to be deployed to sites where UAPs are frequently seen. Some of these packages could be ready to deploy later this year, which is 2024. So we might see some of these observatories and instrumentations being implemented by the end of this year, which is so cool. Waters says that the observatories being used are intended to, quote, determine whether there are measurable phenomena in or near Earth's atmosphere that can be confidently classified as scientific anomalies. He and his colleagues proposed in March of 2023 in the Journal of Astronomical Instrumentation. And they said also that what they're doing is to figure out what's normal versus what's not normal. Designing such observatories is complicated by the fact that not all UAPs are the same, but previous fieldwork, as well as the observatories made by people during UAP sightings, is a rich source of information about what measurements could be useful. Besides sensors for detecting and characterizing a UAP itself, instrument packages will collect weather data, which could help researchers interpret the other measurements. Waters and colleagues are developing 3 styles of instrument packages as part of the Galileo project. Led by Harvard University astronomer Avi Loeb, the project seeks to bring the search for signs of ET technologies into mainstream scientific research. Let me see here. The observatories will likely cost around $250,000 each, and will be deployed to at least 3 sites for up to 5 years. A second, more portable option will be designed for rapid deployment for up to 2 weeks to the sites that don't have access to electrical power or internet, each costing about $25,000. These simpler packages will be monitored daily, with data recorded and then processed later and elsewhere. The instruments won't necessarily be weatherized, restricting their operation to mild weather locales. The third and simplest and least expensive package will host low-end consumer-grade sensors and instruments. They'll be easy to maintain, monitor the sky within a radius of 5 kilometers, and operate continuously for up to a year, relying on solar and battery power if need be. Groups of these packages can be networked together to cover a broad region. Each package will probably cost about $2,500. With these sorts of instruments, packages, and open minds, Water suggests that researchers are bound to make new discoveries. He says it's impossible to make sense of these phenomena until we collect the right kind of data. In their 2023 report, Waters and colleagues noted that though several teams are developing or using instrument packages, none have yet reported detection of UAPs in peer-reviewed papers. The Galileo project, including Waters' team's research, is funded by private donations, including a recently received $575,000 grant to establish and monitor a ground-based observatory somewhere in the Pittsburgh area. The goal is not to explain away UAPs, Waters says. Instead, he notes, we're about identifying and characterizing what they are or might be. Whew. Another long one, guys, but thank you for bearing with me. There's so much information in a lot of these, and you guys know me, I'm a slave to a script, so I like to make sure I get all the information in there. This is exciting to finally see the Galileo project in motion, to see the observatories being built, the instruments being deployed. Only time will truly tell, but I have a lot of faith and hope in the work the Galileo project is doing. What do you guys think? I'm going to go up in the chat and see what you're saying here. Let's see. Bite Size says labeling something as classified allows an element of plausible deniability to be used. Graham is talking about the previous story, but the only works for so long before the weight of questions outweighs its usefulness. Very good point. Duncan says, wonders why Avi Loeb annoys him so much. Duncan, why does he annoy you? Why does our little Avi annoy you? Hello to Robert Zimmer. Tad says he wears his tie to the right. That is true. And he always is in a suit and tie for every interview he ever does. So respect. Respect. You got to put a gun to my head to get me to even put a clip-on tie on. Just going through the chat here, guys. Eichinger says, by the end of 2024, for this is what happens, nothing. Why so pessimistic, my friend? I'm curious to know why you think nothing will happen. All right, I'm going to go up to our starred stuff here, guys, for just a moment. Jim asks, is there any proposed collaboration between the Galileo project and UFO DAP work? I believe there is. I believe there are several members, Jim, who work in tandem together. So I could see that happening for sure. Gosh, if I'm remembering correctly, I wrote a pretty lengthy article about UFO DAP over on my Medium page. The link to my Medium should be in the show notes, guys. Go back in those archives. I'm pretty sure I wrote about UFO DAP. If you don't know what that is, it's basically a ground deployed sensor system for censoring, monitoring, capturing data on UFOs and UAP in real time. So pretty cool. Excuse me, guys. Sorry. CJ says, the more we harness the power of scientific methods and data collection, the less reliant we will be on leaks or waiting for crumbs of disclosure. I do agree, CJ. And again, this story speaks volumes to that, using the scientific method. One more here, guys. Eve says, if the NHI are really in charge of disclosure, I wonder what the response will be to an all new observation attempts out there, right? They're probably like, they're on our tail. They're getting closer. They're getting closer. The dangling carrot, as always. We're just a little bit closer to the carrot. I don't know. Did that analogy work? Wah, wah, wah. I saw someone new in the chat. I think. Stop, Tad. Stop. I see you laughing, Suzanne. Calling her out. Duncan, he searched for spheroids on the ocean bed after a meteoroid, claiming that they were intelligently made or something. Duncan, I know what you're talking about. I would say to go back and look at the data on that, because he doesn't say they are. He theorizes there could be a possible artificial development of what he found. So yeah, in this possible interstellar spirals. Small spirals. Damn it, Dad. Anywho, guys, let's move to our next story. That was a fun one. Oh my gosh. The man, the myth, the legend, my hero. I think I even mentioned him being on my excuse me, I'm going through puberty. I think I mentioned him on my Mount Rushmore of ufologists, and that is the one and only David Marler. And this is exciting, guys. Very exciting. Rio Rancho Public Schools partnering with UFO record collection to promote historical research. So, for those of you who don't know, David Marler is a UFO researcher. He lives in New Mexico, and he has the largest collection of UFO files, documents, historical records, newspaper articles, you name it, the man is in possession of it. So he created the National UFO Historical Records Center, and he's been doing this out of his house. So, UFO researchers, scientists, historians, archivists, all these people would travel to New Mexico and hang out at the dude's house and go to this center and look at all of his stuff, do research, use everything that he has for them at his disposal. And it's only growing. I mean, this man is now in possession of all the files of QFOS, the Center for UFO Studies, APRO, so many others. And I've never been there personally, but I've seen video tours, and it's just incredible. However, it's expanding, and it's going to be bigger and better than ever. And this story comes to us from the local news in New Mexico. Rio Rancho students will soon have access to a massive collection of historical records on UFO sightings. The new partnership with the National UFO Historical Records Center is aimed at promoting students' critical thinking, research skills, and understanding of atmospheric science. So what I'm going to do now, guys, is play a really cool news clip about this developing story with this partnership between the Rio Rancho Public Schools and the National UFO Historical Records Center. And then I got some exclusive words from the man himself, David Marler, who I was texting earlier today about this, congratulating him. And I asked him if he had anything he wanted to say to our audience tonight, and he gave me some quotes. But let's watch this news clip first, and that expands on this story, and then we'll talk a little bit more about it on the other side. This is awesome.
Don't need to tell you, New Mexico has a very special relationship with UFOs. That's kind of Roswell's claim to fame. But it turns out Rio Rancho is just as important to UFO researchers.
And that is because the City of Vision is home to the largest collection of records about UFO sightings anywhere in North America.
And wouldn't you know it, Griffin Rushton found out soon you'll be able to read through all of those records yourself. It sounds like we're going to need a whole lot of time, Griffin.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're not talking about just a few boxes of old files here. David Marler's expansive library includes thousands of declassified government documents, police reports, photographs, audio recordings, and even videos of UFO sightings. Some of these are as far back as the 1800s. And here's the thing. His collection keeps growing. But now, Rio Rancho Public Schools is helping him share it with all of us.
How you interpret what a UFO is. You know, is it misidentification of something prosaic? Is it alien? Is it something else? It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's history.
And UFO record archivist David Marler believes that history belongs to everyone.
Whether you relegate UFOs to fact, fiction, or folklore, it's part of our history, it's part of our culture. And I feel that regardless of belief or non-belief in the subject, we need to preserve this element of our culture.
Marler built an addition onto his Rio Rancho home to house the thousands of documents he's collected over the years. Everything from declassified Project Blue Book files to newspaper clippings and even air traffic control radio recordings.
It's right out of the X-Files. I mean, it's a definite UFO or something like that.
Are all packed inside this small room.
It is essentially a traditional historical archive, albeit dedicated to a non-traditional subject.
And his collection, officially known as the National UFO Historical Records Center, is growing. Marler says more and more archivists are sending him their collections, so everything is under one roof.
It's bringing these puzzle pieces together to get a better picture of what we're dealing with regard to the UFO subject.
We visited his archive back in 2022 and saw documents detailing a UFO sighting near Socorro in 1964. Marler said there was a similar incident near Espanola, but at the time, he didn't have many documents backing it up. Now he does.
And not only are they photos of the landing site and sketches provided by the New Mexico State Police. Contrary to the Air Force conclusion, they provided no indication that this witness was drunk. They deemed him credible, and they provided all of this additional information, which we never had access to until just recently.
Marler says there's countless connections hiding in his archive, and he's partnering with Rio Rancho Public Schools to let other researchers and everyday people take a look.
They have some open space that they would like to allocate for us to house this incredible treasure trove of history.
Marler says he will start moving his collection into 2 portable classrooms in the Rio Rancho School District later this year. And while it will be open to the public, he says you'll have to make an appointment.
Who knows what the average person might discover? What discoveries are waiting for us in these case files that we have yet to connect the dots?
Yeah, Marler says this new space that they're moving into is roughly 6 times bigger than his current setup, and that space is going to go to good use. He says he knows of at least 12 more collections that are heading his way.
So does he think that there could even be more out there besides those collections he already knows of? Like, could this grow even more in his edition?
He definitely thinks so. I mean, he told me that he already thinks he has a pretty good chunk of all the files that are out there, but
yeah.
I mean, we're talking about UFO sightings as far back as 1880 and from all over the world, so you could just imagine just how many documents about this are out there.
Wow.
Is there one particular item that he thinks is the most significant?
There is, and I'm going to let him tell you.
It was a glove that was worn by a UFO witness in Canada in 1967 that saw a UFO land. And purportedly, he walked towards the object. And as he got close to the object, he had his gloves on. He touched the side of the object, literally made physical contact, purportedly, with a UFO. And the object apparently was hot, and it melted the tips of his glove. And these are physical aspects, physical relics of that famous case. One of the most valid cases in Canadian UFO history.
Yeah, he was really excited to show us that. Marler says that this public archive, it's going to be free to access, but it'll operate off of donations and, of course, volunteer hours.
How awesome is that? Also, the Falcon Lake UFO landing. That's a case we have not covered yet on the show. I didn't know Marler was in possession of that glove. That makes me even more excited to possibly go to this center. I know Suzanne lives in proximity to the area. I don't want to dox her, but she's gonna definitely head there when it opens. By appointment only, guys. This thing is gonna be in high demand. Trust me. And the fact that like students can go there at any time. What I would have given to have been a 13, 14, 15-year-old and be like, what do you guys want to do after school? Do you want to go home and play video games? Nah. You want to play baseball? Nope. I want to go to the UFO Historical Center. Never thought I'd see the day. David Marler is the man. David Marler gave me this quote to share with you guys tonight. He says, our archive is organized by and run by the leading historians and archivists on the subject of UFOs. And we have the largest historical data sets ever assembled in U.S. history. That's not it. Give me 1 second. What else did he say here? Oh, that's not what I wanted. There we go. David Marler should always be bigger than me. Let me see here. We have the largest. I said that we hope to elevate the dialogue surrounding the UFO subject by rising above the spurious narratives and conspiracy theories that have all too often plagued this subject and hampered scientists from engaging in academic research. We want to serve as a bastion for serious UFO research endeavors related to the subject of UFOs for virtue of our rare historical holdings. There we go, guys. From the man himself, David Marler. Thank you, David. He did share some photos with me of the new center and the work being done there. However, I was not allowed to show those here tonight. It is still a work in progress. And yeah. Those were unfortunately for my eyes only, but you guys will get to see the center very, very soon in its first iteration. So cool. UFOs are hot, literally, James Craig says. I love that. Bite Size says, is that a Flying Saucer Review Case Histories magazine I see behind you? Yes, it is, my friend. Yes, it is. Should I show you? Check this baby out, guys. 24 pence is how much this thing cost. 1972. I am on the hunt for basically all of the old Flying Saucer reviews. And for some reason, they're a heck of a lot cheaper to find here in the UK than in America. So the hunt is on, Bite Size. I know the hunt's on for you too, buddy. So maybe we should gather our resources and get the UK center going. Awesome, guys. That was a super fun story. And again, I can't wait to see where this center goes. I will say this. I honestly believe the contributions that David Marler has made to this topic puts him in the upper echelon of the most significant UFO researchers ever. He has done more for this topic in terms of archivist work and history and preserving the history of this topic to propel us forward with how to possibly understand what we're dealing with presently and what we could be dealing with in the future. He's just done so much. He's put so much time, energy, I'm sure money into this center, and to see it blossoming, to see it becoming something far bigger than him, far bigger than any of us. It's invaluable. So I'm just going to say it. Thank you, David Marler. Thank you for the work you're doing. Thank you for the continued work you will be doing. And we can't wait to see what you do next, man. That's for damn sure. Want to say hello to our good buddy, Grant Levac, who we will be talking about briefly later in the show, Grant, because one of our stories has to do with some of the amazing work he's doing over there in Australia. But before we get to that, guys, I do want to take a break right here, and we will come back on the other side with some more amazing stories to come out of the UFO headlines in the past week or so. So stick around, and I will see you on the other side where we will continue with Somewhere in the live stream. See you in a minute. The Somewhere in the Skies podcast is free to listen to every week, but if you would like to help support the show, we have a very active Patreon page where you give what you think the show is worth. In return, you'll get early access to the main show, bonus episodes, and priority to ask our guests your listener questions. Your support truly makes the show continue and grow. So, to learn more and to join, visit patreon.com/somewhereskies. Welcome back, guys, to Somewhere in the live stream. And yes, that was a ad for Anomacon coming to you guys September 1st and September 2nd right here on YouTube. It'll also be live streamed across Twitter. It'll also be on Twitch and Facebook as well. So be sure to join us September 1st and 2nd for dozens of guest speakers from all over the world talking about all things anomalous, whether it's UFOs, ghosts, supernatural, paranormal, the occult, cryptozoology, you name it, we've got it at Anomacon, completely free. And I have kind of a cool update and announcement to make here exclusively on the live stream for Anomacon. We're featuring music this year. We have 6, maybe 8 musical guests joining us for Anomacon. Not live. That would be way too much, even for me to handle. But we will be featuring music videos by 8 or so musicians, all having to do with the paranormal, the unexplained, UFOs, ghosts, like I just mentioned. So all of the songs will be anomalous themed, and we will be featuring those music videos in between our special guest presentation. So I'm super excited about that. We've got some very talented people out there making music about all of these topics that we love. And I thought it would be super cool to highlight some of them at Anomacon. So yeah, if you weren't going to watch Anomacon, I hope you will now, because it's just getting bigger and better every single day. All of the presentations are starting to come in now, and it's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. The videos, like basically the waiting, I guess the holding pattern videos for Anomacon Days 1 and 2 are right here on YouTube already. So if you want, you can go to those, click the notification button, so you will be the first to know when we start. I believe each day it will be starting at, Suzanne and I decided 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, yeah, she gave me the thumbs up. I had to make sure. Thank God she's here. So 10 a.m. each day, September 1st and 2nd. Anomacon, a free virtual conference on the anomalous. I'm done, I promise, talking about that. Let's get to our next story, and we are heading to Brazil. This is an awesome story coming out of Brazil and the National Archives there as well. The headline reads, Brazilian National Archives releases new documents on UFOs. So this week, the Brazilian National Archive released 35 new documents detailing incidents involving UFOs, UAPs, and commercial airline pilots that occurred in 2023. The files provided by the Brazilian Air Force were made available in accordance with Ordinance 551 GC3, which establishes that all documents related to UFOs produced by the Air Force must be sent annually to the National Archives. So for those of you who don't know, a lot of wonderful work on this is being done by Ronnie Vernet, who is a Brazilian UFO researcher. So if you haven't checked out his work, I highly suggest doing so. You can follow him on Twitter as well. Just look for Ronnie Vernet. And he has a lot to do with a lot of this happening. So the records reveal a series of sightings identified as, quote, traffic hotel, a term used by the Brazilian Air Force to refer to UFOs observed by pilots during a flight. These documents provided a detailed overview of each incident, including descriptions of the objects sighted, their appearance, characteristics, trajectory, and manner of flight, flight conditions, and the actions taken by pilots and aviation authorities in response to the encounters. Among the most notable incidents, 3 stand out due to the shape and the characteristics of the objects sighted. So I'm going to go through those 3 with you guys. These are pretty compelling. Report number 860. So on January 31st at 11:15 p.m., coast of the state of Santa Catarina, an unidentified beige-colored flying object shaped like a cobblestone and approximately 10 meters long was seen just 3 meters away from an aircraft. That's pretty darn close. The object emitted what happened to be a trail of condensation of some sort. Interesting. We move on to report 868. So on March 29th at 10 p.m., coast of the state of Rio de Janeiro, a cigar-shaped UFO, approximately 2.5 meters long, was observed performing, quote, jumping movements in the airspace. And lastly, report number 871. On April 21st at 2:45 a.m. in the Amazonas, several white luminous objects without a clear defined shape were seen flying and performing jumps in the airspace below the aircraft's altitude. So this article says that it is interesting to note that the Brazilian Air Force continues to monitor and document UFO activities and sightings. With growing global attention on the phenomenon, the release of these documents by the National Archives plays a crucial role in promoting an informed and open approach to the study of the UFO and UAP phenomenon. This is awesome. This is awesome. Hides and Longgrass says, transparency brought to you by Brazil. I love it. You know, it's every other country, right? Every other country besides the UK and the US, which we will get to very shortly. But this is so cool. Again, guys, go check out Ronnie on Twitter if you haven't. He just did a great interview with Ross Coulthart as well about his adventures in the Amazon, going over there and investigating all the weird, dangerous close encounters that were going on there last year. Remember that crazy time? Or like floating aliens attacking people and stuff? Well, Ronnie went over there. And he has a lot to say about it in this interview with Ross Coulthart. So be sure to check that out if you can. Eve says, they need to release all docs related to the Colares and Varginha cases. Yeah, that would be nice. Something tells me we're not getting anything from those, though, unfortunately. Probably too high up in the classification system. Especially when you're dealing with, like, the ramifications of possible entities that were recovered, either dead or alive. And at least with the Varginha case, like, a soldier dying because he was in close contact with one of these beings. Allegedly. Daltron asks, did anyone pre-order Lue Elizondo's book Imminent? Dal, I've got an update on that later, buddy. Stay tuned. All right. Thank you, James Craig, so much for the super chat. Stand-up fund for the Ryan Sprague UAP Research Center. I love it, man. Thank you. That's extremely kind of you. I guess my research center for now is Anomacon. So all the funds are going to that, buddy. So you kind of you're helping us out with Anomacon right there, my friend. As always, thank you. You're always so kind. Suzanne did put a link in the chat, guys, for the Ross Coulthard and Ronnie interview, so be sure to check that out as well. Oh, sorry. Eve says, or is it just that the U.S. swooped in and took everything in the Varhinia case? Allegedly, Eve. Yeah, that's what James Fox kind of uncovered. So is that true? I don't know. All right, what do we got next here? Oh, this is weird, but cool. Again, guys, like to say nothing's going on in the UFO world is just simply not true right now. Because our next story brings us to a very fascinating development, and this story comes to us from UFO researcher Keith Basterfield. Now, this reference guide we're going to talk about is very interesting. I'm going to go through a little bit of it with you guys in just a moment. But the headline is U.S. Major Cities Chiefs Association published a reference guide on UAP. So the Major Cities Chiefs Association is, by their term, quote, a professional organization of police executives represented the largest cities in the United States and Canada. The MCCA provides a unique forum for urban chiefs, sheriffs, and other law enforcement executives to share ideas, experiences, and strategies. MCCA provides a collaborative forum for the advancement of public safety through innovation, research, policy development, government engagement, community outreach, and leadership development. All right, so now we know what they are, but what the heck are they doing creating a UAP reference guide? Well, Keith Basterfield asked just that. And they responded, upon recognizing member agencies are in need of and are hungry for quality deliverables that push the profession to look 5, 10, 15 years down the road, the Major Cities Chiefs Association is decidedly leaning into the future. Futurist initiatives were established in 2023 to examine various innovative concepts and to propose ideas for consideration related to technology, human behavior, national security, training, research capabilities, and communication. The initiative first examined all things AI, most recently featured UAP, and there is much more to come. So this this is crazy. Let's go through a little bit of the guide, guys. Let me see if I can get this up on the screen for you here. Where is it? Oh, here we go. So let's go through a little bit of this reference guide. So it's broken into, Keith says here, it's broken into 11 different topics. And as you can see on the front here, those topics include UAP in the news, law enforcement considerations, U.S. government UAP programs, whistleblowers, UAP and Congress, UAP and U.S. DoD, other U.S. government and international reporting, UAP and NASA, UAP and FAA, UAP reporting mechanisms, and key takeaways. Look at how sharp this thing is. Of course, they made images with AI, though. Boo. So we won't go through all of it, guys, but I'm just giving you kind of a look at the manual itself. Law enforcement considerations, aviation safety, obviously. They go through the history of U.S. government UAP programs, which is real. They did their homework on this. They got Project Saucer, Project Twinkle. So cool. Blue Book, obviously. I mean, all the way up to Arrow. They cover the congressional UFO hearing that took place with the quote-unquote whistleblowers, UAP in Congress, kind of talking about everything going on right now with legislation, which I'm hearing there might be another congressional hearing taking place somewhat soon, possibly even this month. Excuse me, next month, September. So that's interesting. They go into the UAPTF and Arrow, even up to the international UAP reporting, such as Sky Canada Project going on right now, what's going on in France. Ooh, they even covered the UAP and NASA study, which they've been completely silent on. NASA has. The FAA, like we talked about. So yeah. These are their key takeaways at the bottom here, guys. Basically, I'm not going to go through all this because I put a link in the show notes, and we'll put one in the chat as well for this entire manual if you want to take a look at it yourself. It's pretty well done. Not going to lie. I had a lot of fun looking through it. Oh, memories. But yeah, it's interesting, that law enforcement is getting involved on the topic as well. So, hey, all hands on deck when it comes to UFOs, right? That's what I say. All right. What are you guys saying in the chat here? Hello to all work and low pay. Hello to Drew as well. Drew says, what happened to Project Sign and Project Grudge? Basically, they dissolved and then eventually became Project Blue Book. Project Sign really came to some, I want to say, ambitious conclusions, where they did actually say that a likely explanation for some UFOs could be extraterrestrial. And apparently the higher-ups did not like that. And any documents stating such were destroyed. And they said, nope, ain't going to the public with that. So that was dissolved, and then came Project Grudge, aptly named. They had a grudge, and that was kind of a... Grudge became a debunking campaign, which then eventually became Project Blue Book, which was, again, kind of a debunking campaign. So, yeah, there's a very bastardized version of all of those for you. Hello to Ruth Bradford. She says, the major cities chiefs did a better job with the historical UAP roundup than Arrow did. Amen to that. Interesting. Let's go to the start stuff here, guys, before we move to our last stories of the night. Eve says, has anyone watched the new interview with Sean Kirkpatrick on Brian Keating's channel? No, I haven't had a chance. I know that just dropped somewhat recently, so I'm going to have to give that a look. For someone who says that he's not going to do interviews and that he's done talking about UFOs, he's doing a lot of interviews about UFOs. Interesting. I don't know. I'm just a saying. All right. I got your question, biologist. I'll get to that at the end, my man. Thank you. Here we go. Let's head to the United Kingdom. Or as I call it, home. It's still weird saying that. That also sounded super douchey. So, our next story, guys. The UK MoD sent 2 intelligence officials to classified Pentagon UFO summit. So, 2 British intelligence officials were sent to a classified international summit about UFOs at the Pentagon. It has emerged despite the UK Ministry of Defense claiming to have had no interest in the subject since 2009. The Express in the UK reported that the MoD branded an earlier study by the British military into the potential existence of alien life from UFOs reportedly seen across the country, including by its pilots, a waste of taxpayers' cash. A spokeswoman for the MoD said, in over 50 years, no UFO sightings reported to us indicated the existence of any military threat to the United Kingdom. It remains more valuable to prioritize MoD resources towards other defense-related activities. In 2009, the MoD UFO desk was closed because it served no defense purpose and was taking staff away from more valuable defense-related activities. There was no defense benefit in such investigations, and therefore it was deemed an inappropriate use of defense resources. However, this prompted former UFO desk civil servant Nick Pope to make contact with a very recent Freedom of Information Act response from the MoD that suggested otherwise, which stated that 2 members of the staff from Defense Intelligence had visited the United States in connection with UFOs. Pope asked how many MoD personnel attended the inaugural UAP caucus working group. So, guys, if you don't know what that is, it recently took place. We talked all about it with Grant LaVac about 2 weeks ago. If you want to learn about the UAP caucus, what it was, and the countries that attended, which were the Five Eyes, we went through all of it with Grant. He did an insanely good job of reporting on all of this, and he even got some pretty compelling information about the meeting itself in terms of what was discussed there, the agenda for the meeting, and everything in between. And this really did prompt Nick Pope to be like, the Five Eyes, okay, that includes the UK. They said that they are not into UFOs, but apparently every one of the Five Eyes countries had people attending this meeting. So, what's up with that? So, yeah. Let's see. Pope asked how many MoD personnel attended the meeting held at the Pentagon, and he also asked for their grade or rank, which division they came from, and if they were Defense Intelligence staff. The response he got was, in regard to these questions, at the time of the meeting, 2 members of staff from the Defense Intelligence were in attendance. We will not discuss ranks or divisions due to personal security. Very little is known about what went on at the meeting, but it was arranged by the Five Eyes Alliance. And like I mentioned, guys, if you want to learn more about the Five Eyes, go to Grant LaVac's wonderful YouTube channel, The Unexplained Rundown, or go back a couple weeks here on the live and check out our interview with Grant all about that. Lastly, Nick Pope told the Express the MoD is not, or he told the Express, excuse me, in an article, in an interview. The MoD is not in the business of UFOs, yet they sent 2 intelligence specialists on a transatlantic trip to attend a meeting on the subject. What this revelation shows is that despite the denials, the MoD is still fully engaged in UAP work. This frustrates me. I don't know about you guys. Why not just come out and admit, yeah, there was a meeting. At first they said there was no meeting. Then through the Freedom of Information Act, we found out there was. No. New Zealand didn't attend. Australia didn't attend. UK didn't attend. Yes, they did. We found out through the agenda that Grant was able to get. Nick Pope brought it even further. Who was involved? Defense Intelligence officials. Why can't you just say, yes, we did, we attended? Okay, we're not going to get the names or the ranks. I understand that there's a lot that goes to that, but just be honest. Just be somewhat transparent when it comes to all of this. Because if you don't, people are going to push further and further until you're backed into the corner. And that's when we get things like UFO leaks. And that's when, the conspiracy nuts start to fill in the gaps of uncertainty of what they're not told. And that can be very bad. That can be very dangerous. That can be detrimental to the factual progression of the UFO topic. So yeah, just be honest. Just be open. Like, the public can handle it. Like, those days are over. The public can't handle the truth. Yeah, we damn well can. All Work Low Pay says MoD seems like they deny more than the other agencies these days. I wonder why. You would think it would be the United States. Interesting. Okay, guys. We are drawing near to the end, and there's a little preview of what's dropping tonight. Our interview, you might have caught the live stream of this with Micah Hanks. We have a podcast episode dropping tonight, Unit 731, Operation Paperclip, and the UFO Connection, where Micah and I talked all about the controversies surrounding these highly controversial projects in Japan and the United States and their possible connections to UFOs. But before we do that, we had a question earlier about who is going to get, who pre-ordered Luis Elizondo's book, whether the audiobook or the hardcover book. And funny you should mention that. Elizondo actually dropped a video on Instagram, of all places. And it was video of him recording the audiobook. So we actually have that clip here. I'm going to go ahead and play that for you guys. And yeah, we can start to wrap things up talking about the forthcoming book by Luis Elizondo. So give this a watch, and I will see you on the other side.
He explained that OSAP focused on unusual phenomenon and investigated unidentified aircraft, specifically ones that seemed to display beyond next-generation technology and capabilities. What we now call unidentified anomalous phenomenon, or UAP, are what were long referred to as UFOs. Jim explained that for decades, civilians, military personnel, and law enforcement officers had reported strange sightings across the world, and there was actually data to support what they saw. Data collected by the same intelligence gathering systems used to keep our country safe from our adversaries, arguably the most advanced in the world. Jim emphasized that what they focused on didn't conform to physics as we understood it.
There you go, guys. Little behind the curtain, I guess, of Luis Elizondo recording the audiobook version of Imminent. Duncan says, wow, that's pretty echoey room for recording. With that microphone and the pop thing that he has there, he should be good. Microphones these days are pretty good at negating echoes in the rooms. I don't know how this one's doing. Let me know. I also have a fan blowing really loud. I don't know if you guys can hear that either. But yeah. So there's a little peek behind the curtain. Like I said, guys, the book is coming out in the next couple weeks, August 20th. The book will be dropping. I'm looking forward to it. I am. I was able to skim it when that leaked version came out, and there were some things in there that really caught me off guard. I'm not going to lie. I still don't know what to make of them. But that being said, that was just a portion. This is a whole book. And just like anyone, whether you're on the side of Elizondo or not on the side of Luis Elizondo, I can damn well guarantee you both of those sides of the spectrum and the in-betweeners are going to be reading this book. So I'm sure there will be a lot to talk about on August 20th and August 21st. And we will talk about it here on the show as well. If you want to hear more of my thoughts on Luis Elizondo, David Grush, and all of that, again, be sure to check out the mini interview I did with Graham Rendell over on Bite-Sized UFOs. Again, there is a link in the show notes to subscribe to his YouTube channel please go do that, guys. And please, please, please join us September 1st and 2nd at Anomacon. Like I said earlier, we got music for you guys this year. Our guest list of speakers is growing by the day. I just heard back from a couple more, and I cannot wait to share those with you soon. You can learn more at anomacon.com and stay up to date with everything that we're doing with the event over there. Other than that, yeah, be on the lookout for our episode dropping in just a couple hours here of the Somewhere in the Skies podcast. If you're into wrestling, you can check out my wrestling podcast, Somewhere in the Ring. I do it with my good buddy Andrew Sanford, who's been on the show many times, where we talk everything professional wrestling. It's a lot of fun, and we try to make it accessible to everyone. So you don't have to be a big wrestling fan, and you don't even have to like wrestling. But we guarantee you, by the end of our episodes, you will love wrestling. So you can check that out at somewhereinthering.com, all over socials, or we have a YouTube channel right here as well for Somewhere in the Ring podcast. Roman Reigns is back, Terrence says. Yes, he is, man. The tribal chief is back. Some of you are like, what the hell are they talking about? You will know if you listen to Somewhere in the Ring. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and right here on YouTube. Terrence says, Ryan, who are you most looking forward to interviewing this year? Love your show. 100. Thank you so much, Terrence. That's extremely kind of you. You know, I've got some pretty unique interviews coming up. I can't give them away just yet because I haven't confirmed all of them yet. But I'm trying to interview people moving forward that other shows aren't. You know, these aren't your Elizondos, your Avi Lobes, your whatever. These aren't the people you hear on my show, on other UFO shows. These are people who might have a tangential connection to the UFO topic, or might not have any at all. And I really want to open it up. I want to open up the conversation. I want to get different perspectives. And yeah, so that's what I'm doing moving forward at the end of this year and moving into 2025. And doing a lot of the storytelling episodes as well. Audio docs. I'm doing a really, really good one coming up about a case in Scotland where I live now. So be on the lookout for that. But yeah, I can't really say who my favorite upcoming interview is just yet because, frankly, I don't have any lined up just yet. I should say 100% confirmed, but I'm sure I will in the near future. So thanks for the question, Terrence. Appreciate that. Let me double check one more time, guys, in the starred chat here. One last question from the biologist. Anyone from the Canadian Ghost Show presenting at Anomacon? Yes. You will be hearing from 2 members. I should say 1 member of our Ghost Show, but 2 members of another Ghost Show. So yes, be on the lookout for an awesome presentation from one of my castmates from Haunted, Amy Murphy, and her amazing investigative partner from Soul Seekers Paranormal. They're going to be giving a very fun presentation at Anomacon, and I can't wait for you to see that for sure. So thank you. Thank you for the question. All right, guys, that is going to do it tonight for Somewhere in the live stream. Apologies for all of the reading. I just want to get it all out to you guys. And if you know me, you know I'm a slave to a script. I am a playwright after all. So I like to get all of it out to you. And I hope that wasn't too distracting or too laborious for you. But yeah, subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff right here on YouTube and beyond. Turn on notifications so you're the first to know when we drop new episodes here. I want to give a special thank you to all of our super chatters and super stickers tonight, and also a special thank you to our YouTube members, to our Patreon subscribers, and to our Apple Premium subscribers as well. All of you make this possible, and I cannot thank you enough for your invaluable support here at Somewhere in the Live Stream and Somewhere in the Skies. It is greatly, greatly appreciated. And of course, a very special thank you, as always, to Suzanne for moderating, and to all of you for watching tonight. This was a fun one. I hope you had fun. And I hope that you will tune in to our new episode dropping tonight with the one and only Micah Hanks. So I will leave you, as always, with our mantra here, guys, and that is keep your feet on the ground, but never stop searching somewhere in the skies. Have a good night, and I'll see you at Anomacon.
There's nothing to hide. There's nothing to hide at all.